Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's another edition of Let's Talk Broncos. This is a big episode, Zach. Massive episode, some may add. We are going through our predictions from last year to see who won between me, you, and Bree. Our bold predictions episode. Yes, sir. And then also we are going to go season preview. We're going to talk about, hey, we haven't talked to you guys since they cut down to the Broncos 53-man roster. We haven't talked to you guys for a while. So this is going to be a fun one. This is going to be a really good episode. Season preview episode. It's going to be good.
I can't wait for it, man. This is like my favorite episode of the year every year outside of maybe our draft special. I love just getting to go over the whole season, lay out all our predictions for, how the Broncos season will go, which players will stand out, all that, in part because of what we hit, but then also, you kind of track it throughout the year and you just laugh at yourself sometimes. Like last year, I predicted the Broncos would have, 2,000 rushing yards between the top two running backs. And boy, did I look like a total idiot. So I always enjoy the hits and misses element of this episode.
Yes. It is always a blast. I remember the one year where I was just predicting Jerry Jeudy's going to get 100 yards every week until he does. And it never happened. It's safe to say that I ended up in third place that year. That is the year I came in third. Year one. I'm winner right there. I think Zach won year two off of technicalities. And then the third year we're going to get into today.
Yes. And really quick, I will say, everyone, if you have a bold prediction for the season, prediction just for how the Broncos season will go, what their final record will be, how far they'll advance in the playoffs, whether or not they win a Super Bowl, and any predictions you have for the season, leave them in the comments below. We'll make sure to respond to them once you do.
There you go. Well, Zach, let's get into the episode. The Broncos cut down their roster to their final 53 man. All right. What was your biggest takeaway from that, as we haven't really talked to the people since?
I'm sorry, what was that? I was trying to help Bree. My bad.
All good. I was saying that the Broncos cut down their roster to the final 53. Give me a big takeaway you got from it. What was something that you thought was interesting?
So unprofessional. I'm sorry there, Joey. My big takeaway is the fullback situation. I think that is, I know that's like the niche, but like I think that's like most things I think went as expected, right? You have the 5 wide receivers. We were talking about the 4 running backs likely being those 4. The safety battle turned out the way we thought it would. Cornerback turned out the way we thought it would. Edge turned out the way we thought it would. I mean, the extra D lineman, I guess, but I don't know how fascinating that is. To me, the most interesting thing is this fairly key element of the Sean Payton offense. Like you'll have Nate Adkins and or Michael Burton out there, I don't know, 30-40% of the offensive snaps. Right now, there is no one on this offense to fill that role. Is it Adam Troutman? Is it them promoting Adam Prentice off the practice squad? I don't really know what they're going to do, but that is a fairly large part of the Sean Payton offense. Someone's going to be in that role on game day. Whoever that person is currently isn't on the roster. And one, I think this points out kind of the general solid state of the roster, but that's the first thing that jumped out to me is an oddity and something I didn't expect.
There you go. I think that one, it is interesting. The fullback situation, everything like that. It is weird too because of the injuries involved, right? I mean, how much of a factor do you think that had to do with the fullback situation?
I think it was meaningful, but I have some questions about the Michael Burton injury. I think it's a real injury, but we do see
I think it's a hoax.
No. But we do see teams, if a player's injured who might have been on the roster bubble, sometimes they'll just put them on season-ending IR and be like, hey, you didn't make the roster this time. We'll keep you around, revisited next year. Now, typically that's with a younger player. With an older player, they'll, generally just move on. But a season-ending hamstring is atypical, and Burton was a player on the practice squad. So that does raise my antenna a bit some. But I don't know. I think it's somewhat to do with the injury. But I think more than anything, if I really had to say what I think it most has to do with, I think it's them not wanting to cut one of the defensive linemen. Probably that, and Nate Adkins not having to go on short-term IR. That suggests they probably think he's going to be back within the first few weeks of the season. And they probably went, you know what? I'd rather gut it out with some practice squad promotions for the first couple weeks of the season than risk losing one of these defensive linemen, which is a compliment to the front they're building there.
There you go. Mine, Zach, is the inside linebacker position. I thought the cutting of Lavelle Bailey was very interesting and different, especially because who have they kept? They kept a rookie. Reed is who they kept.
Reed.
Yep, at the middle linebacker position. And we'll get into this, and maybe this is the perfect segue to it, but Alex Singleton and Dre Greenlaw are going to be on a snap count, it looks like, for year one, or there's week one. There's at least reports of that out there, is that they're not going to play the entire game. They're going to run a snap count for that. The Broncos trust a rookie inside linebacker who is undrafted there at playing meaningful snaps in a regular season game. That's a big deal. That is a big deal. And it makes me curious of why, if Lavelle Bailey wasn't a dude this season, why didn't they go out there and sign a vet? That's a question I have right now. There were plenty of inside linebacker vets, and the Broncos have acquired through previous years multiple inside linebackers that have stepped in and been okay for them. It's interesting why they didn't do this. I don't know if they just love Reed or if they're just not that worried about these guys' injuries, despite the fact Alex Singleton is coming off a season ending, and then Dre Greenlaw's had multiple injuries going into this. That one's a little concerning.
This is another one where I wonder if they're hoping Drew Sanders comes to the rescue. He should be back fairly early in the season, and I think they want him to be part of that 4-man rotation. Justin Cernad was solid last year as a reserve player. But I'm with you. It does feel funky. It does feel like a position they should have invested more in. I think they do have a fairly high opinion of Karene Reed, though. And as a bonus, it helps the team continue to pitch to UDFAs. This was a solid point I think Ryan Edwards was making on the radio earlier this week. When you're competing against the Panthers and the Browns and whatever for these UDFA spots, I don't think it takes, an NFL player or NFL prospect to figure out hey, a UDFA probably has a better chance of making the Browns roster than the Denver Broncos, or a lower end roster than a higher end roster. Well, how can you maybe, and it does generally just come down to money, but how can you maybe strengthen that pitch to these UDFAs? Well, hey, 21 out of the last 22 years, a UDFA has made the final roster. The Cleveland Browns can't say that. The Carolina Panthers can't say that. I think that's a little cherry on top for the Broncos here.
Yeah, I agree. I think in a season where the Broncos have gone, I agree that it does help with these undrafted free agents, Zach, but I'm just not thinking that's a concern of mine right now.
Oh, it's not a top priority. No,
I do not care in the season that we're in, where we just signed Dre Greenlaw, where we just went after Ufunga, where we just drafted a first-round pick, and we think we're so good at DB that this guy is going to be kind of like a Swiss Army knife, move around, not really a start. I'm sitting here thinking we are going for the bowl. Give me the vet. I don't want the undrafted rookie. I don't care how good you think he is or might be. Give me the vet. Give me the sure thing. I want somebody that I feel comfortable stepping in and playing besides Alex Singleton and Dre Greenlaw when they are on a snap count or when one's hurt. I think that, the odds are that one is going to be hurt. That's my opinion. I think one is going to miss significant time this year. Or at least the odds would tell you that. Give me the sure thing. I think it's crazy they didn't go put more into that position.
And with how free agency works now, to your point, you're not going to often find the piece that puts you over the hump. They're out there sometimes, but there's not a lot of those high-end talents out on the veteran market anymore. What you can find a lot of are insurance policies, and I think at this stage of contention, when you're trying to push all in for it, what you should be looking to add isn't, that additional elite piece, because you're not going to really find that. You should be looking for options to insulate yourself from the worst case scenario. Look for contingency plans. So like I know CJ Mosley retired, but if Dre Greenlaw goes down, then you have a CJ Mosley to call, or whoever. Kaiser White's still out there. Not that he's like the most exciting option, but I think he's more exciting than Karene Reed, to your point.
Okay, there. Well, I think so as well, Zach. We are on the same page there. Okay, moving on, and I want to kind of give the people a little rundown here. So next, Zach, I'm going to have Zach read who won last year's award. So this is the bold predictions every single week. If you guys aren't familiar, if you're new to the show, Zach, Bree, and I go over our bold predictions. We add up a tally at the end to see who hit the nail on the head more times than not. We also have score predictions. That's another thing we go for. So Zach's going to read through that. If you guys want to skip ahead, we are going to give our season-long bold predictions after that. Things that you might not guess someone would say, but we are making the prediction that it is. It's supposed to be bold. Zach always tries to skate around the bold part, but it's supposed to be bold. Anyway, Zach, please give us the winners from last year.
The winners from last year, Joey. I was the defending champion. I did not defend my title. I finished in last place. I won't go through all the season by season predictions, but I will give our season long ones. Okay. My season long prediction, I had a couple here. Broncos have more wins than Russ has starts. That ultimately ended up being a tie. So they didn't have more. Yeah. And I did specify that it did have to be more. So that one came right down to the wire, but I didn't quite get it. And then I mentioned the 2,000 all-purpose yards for Jaleel plus Javonte combined. They didn't even come close to it.
The running game ended up being the running backs ended up being atrocious.
Yes, it was terrible. That one backfired terribly. You had Bo Nix would finish top 5 in the NFL in quarterback rushing yards. You weren't too far off here. He finished with 430. Josh Allen finished in 5th, all said and done, with 531. So just 102 yards off. You got to think maybe if he doesn't suffer the back injury, he would have finished in that top 5. Bree, only person to hit on her top 5. Looking back on this, I can't believe we let her get away with this. She predicted 40 sacks. This is combined for the whole defense. 40 sacks, 12 interceptions, and 10 forced fumbles. They cleared all those numbers pretty easily, except for, I think interceptions or forced fumbles was kind of close, but she kind of ran away with that one. And really, as a result of that, Bree won at a score of Bree 31, Joey 30, me 25. She got us both on the season long prediction, giving her 2 points there and ultimately giving her the win in the series. So I wish she was here with us. She had a family thing come up unexpectedly today and was unable to join us, but cheers to Bree. She finally is on the board.
Way too nice. Bree somehow cheated. Like, what are you talking about? Cheers. No, we are not cheersing her, especially when she's not on the show. Fuck that. No. Bree cheated the system.
We gave her charity points. We gave her charity points on the season long.
I will watch the film. I'm going to go through the season prediction show, so I want to see where Bree cheated. She cheated somewhere. I'm 1 point away. I don't know. I think I'm going to find her on technicality here.
Well, and now this season is going to be the ultimate tiebreaker. We all have one bold predictions title, and this year, 4th year of the show, is going to determine whoever's best at making the bold predictions. So excited for that. A little extra juice this year.
It's me. I came in second last year. I came in second this year. And then last year, the year before that, I came in second. And the year before that, I came in first. I mean, if we are adding up points, like if second place had point value to it, I would be 1.
Yeah, you're like Josh Allen in a sense. You also finished second. The other game we played last year was a week by week Broncos score prediction game with all of our staff, all 12 members of Let's Talk Broncos. I won that one, credit to me, but I'll finish. I'll start with the last place here. The spot of shame. We have Mario Vitanzi with 102 points. Liam Hammer with 107 in 11th. Patrick Quixote finished 10th with 116 points. The listeners, all of you, finished 9th with 118 points. Bree in 8th with 119. Take a big step up to 7th with Frankie at 134. Robbie in 6th with 138. Jason in 5th with 139. And then we had some drama at the end here. Carter was in 2nd place pretty much the entire season. But then in the final week, Joey passed him, and Jacob Romano also passed him. So the final tally is me in 1st place with 157, Joey in 2nd with 145, Jacob in 3rd with 144, and Carter in 4th with 143. Glad to have at least one crown there and looking to defend my title.
So Zach, I think what we need to start doing this next year is start adding these things up and making the cumulative score. You came in last place and won. Okay, whatever, right? That's unfortunate for you, Zach. That's very unfortunate. I came 1 point away from 1st place in that, and then I came in 2nd place for the other. Then that one had like 10 people in it. I don't know. I think I won.
It wouldn't be fair because the rest of the staff doesn't get to compete in bold predictions. So
They should. We should start doing that.
We should. It'll be a mess to keep track of with all 12 of us, whether or not we take up each other's bold predictions.
We're going to have to actually write them down and like keep score every single week. There's no review.
Be a nightmare. We'll do it. We should do that though. That'd be fun. Yeah. I could make everybody fit onto the graphic.
Okay. So guys, this is the fun part of the show. Zach's going to take his W on it. It's very unfortunate. I don't know how he won. It's silly. But okay, season awards now. This is the part everyone wants to hear about. This is the interesting thing. We're going to go through Broncos Rookie of the Year, Breakout Bronco of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, the MVP, all of the awards for the Broncos. This should be a score as well. But Zach, who's your Broncos Rookie of the Year?
My Rookie of the Year, I think I'm going to go RJ Harvey.
Wrong.
I feel pretty good about it. I guess I should feel good about it, but I feel pretty good about it because I think he's pretty quickly going to I don't know if it'll be the 1A job because he does have to prove himself more as a pass protector, but I think he's going to have a huge role in this offense. I think he's going to catch the ball a ton. I mean, we saw Javonte Williams get like 80 targets in this offense last year. The last few times Sean Payton has drafted a running back as high as he drafted RJ Harvey, they got 100 targets in their rookie seasons, 100 plus targets. So I think he's going to be a big part of the passing game. I think he's the most dynamic runner on this team right now. I think they really want to commit to the run. Sean Payton kept talking all season, or all off season rather, about how that's the weapon they added to Bowie Bo Nix. I think RJ Harvey is the key part of that weapon. I think he has a great rookie year and is the Broncos' standout rookie this season. What say you, Joey?
I mean, it's hard for me to disagree. I just think out of opportunity, I could look at the other Broncos rookies and say RJ Harvey's going to be the best one. RJ Harvey slots in immediately as a guy that gets plenty of playing time. There's no real competition for him. J.K. Dobbins can take a percentage of snaps away from RJ Harvey, but RJ Harvey still is guaranteed a big amount of snaps. I can't say that for other rookies. I think Jahdae Barron does as well. Like, he gets a guaranteed amount of snaps per game this upcoming season. But I don't know how, like a guy that's playing dime and he only comes in dime, or a guy that replaces somebody on defense when somebody's hurt, type of thing for nickel coverage or whatever, doesn't have the same impact as the guy that I can count on every single week that's going to play 40% of snaps. It is not going to happen. So yeah. I would go RJ Harvey as well, and it's strictly off of opportunity. I think that Jahdae Barron is still the most talented player on this team, or on this rookie roster. I think he's probably the best. RJ Harvey hasn't shown me anything this preseason to indicate that he's going to just be a superstar right out the gate, if I'm being honest with you. I think he can be plenty capable, fine. But I think Jahdae Barron actually has some of that ability where, oh man, if he's a starter, he could be really good for the Broncos. RJ Harvey's kind of in the middle, I think.
Yeah, I think Jahdae Barron just has the kind of like you laid out the tougher road to playing time. But if anyone was to challenge RJ Harvey for this, I do think Barron is the best bet because if he becomes the starting nickel, he's going to have a lot of balls thrown his way. He's going to have a lot of opportunity to make big plays. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if he capitalizes on those opportunities.
Well, there you go. Well, next award, guys, is the Broncos breakout.
Harvey?
It's Harvey. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's Harvey. It's hard to bet against him for all the reasons I said. It's just like he's guaranteed opportunities that other guys aren't. So I think he's going to be Broncos Rookie of the Year. Breakout Broncos candidate. Zach, I'm going to give you mine off the bat. It's Jonah Ellis. Jonah Ellis is a stud.
Monster.
And I got to talk my shit a little bit about this for the pre-draft stuff. I was telling everybody that he was a good run defender, and he was very underrated as a run defender when everyone was saying he was just really bad there. He is good. He's weak in certain parts of run defending, but that doesn't necessarily make you a bad run defender. He's really good in other spots, and you're seeing him grow upon that right now. He has the potential, and now he's showing you that he can do it. Along with that, this is a guy that gets off after the passer really well. It was never a question for him, even coming out of college. We saw it last year. We've seen it now this preseason. Jonah Ellis is going to get a lot of snaps for this Broncos team that rotates their edge rushers quite frequently. And I think he's the breakout candidate. I wouldn't be shocked, Zach, if he ended up – I mean, I hate sacks are kind of a silly number to throw out there. Because pressures don't necessarily equal sacks and pressures mean wins, right? More times than not. So, but I do think I wouldn't be shocked if this guy ended up with like 9 sacks at the end of the season. That would be a phenomenal guy as your third edge, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't know what the sack count, like you said, the total counts are hard because who knows how the splits work in this. Not only is he going to have to compete with the starters, Cooper and Benito, but he's also going to have to compete with Dondre Tillman, who I think in camp in the preseason also looked like he took a leap, not as strong or as large a leap as Jonah Ellis took, but I thought he looked great. And then Q Robinson, we didn't talk about him in the rookie section. I think just because he'll be buried in this group, but he might have looked the best out of any of the rookies so far. He just doesn't have a good path to playing time. So, who knows how the total production numbers work out, but I think on a per snap basis, he's going to be an absolute monster. I think this pass rush is going to be reminiscent of what the Broncos had coming off the edge in 2015, where I mean, the top end isn't that good. It's not DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller, but you've just got, 4 or 5 guys off the edge you can throw at the opposing offense, and all 5 of them can give you legit pass rush. Except, this group doesn't have that high end talent, but it's probably deeper because instead of Shane Ray being that 4th best guy, you're looking at Tillman or Q Robinson being that 4th best guy, and that's a pretty nice deal.
What's fun about it too is it's not like you just have a bunch of small, like run around the corner guy. Jonah Ellis, Nick Benito, like they don't all have one skill set is what I'm trying to say. Jonah Ellis, Nick Benito, Jonathan Cooper, and Q Robinson, these guys win in all different ways. That's difficult for anyone that knows what it's like as an offensive tackle, right? These guys go in there and watch the film and they prepare against specific things. Like when you have a rotation where everyone's winning different, man, that is a handful for an offensive lineman to prepare for going into that game. That's tough. DeAndre Tillman too. Like that is tough. That's really tough. I think the Broncos edge room as a group is like going to be a handful this year. I really, really, really do.
And then you've got Franklin Myers and Zach Allen playing off those guys as well. I mean, it is a really exciting defensive front. It's, that and the secondary, it's why everyone thinks they're going to have an elite defense. Okay.
So who is your breakout candidate?
My breakout candidate this year, Joey, it's the guy everyone's been hyped about all summer long, Troy Franklin. I think he just, I think he is ready for it. And some of it is how good he's looked this preseason and training camp, but I think he also now has a great opportunity with Devon Villay out of the picture. Troy Franklin looks very clearly like the next man up to be one of those top 3 in the wide receiver rotation. Sutton has that X spot locked down. I'm curious to see how things work out with Mims. Looks like he might be the leading man for that Z spot. In the first preseason game, when you had all the starters and everything, he played all his snaps on the outside. But if that transition doesn't work this year, like it didn't work last year, and he winds up having to play more in the slot, I think it's going to be Troy Franklin. And even if that leap does work for Mims, I think Troy Franklin's going to be the next man up in the slot. You saw, again, in that 49ers game, it went the 3-man rotation before Devon Villay even entered the game was Sutton, Mims, and Franklin. I think he's the next man up. On top of that, it seems like the path to snaps and targets and all that, he's got great chemistry with Bo Nix. It seems like that's finally coming to fruition based on what we saw in camp and preseason. And I think he probably has the most talent out of the Broncos receivers right now. We still have to see it all come together, but now that he's got a little more strength on his body, and he's a more consistent catcher of the football, if that continues to carry into the regular season, I think he is the most dangerous pass catcher on the Broncos, or at least could become that pretty quickly.
Give me a stat line that I can think of how high you are on him. Like, what's a breakout season for Troy Franklin look like as far as like receiving yards?
Let me see what the Broncos had last year, because I don't think it's just going to be like deep bombs to him. I think it'd be better than what you saw from Villay last year. I would say,
yeah.
Well, honestly, he was sneaky productive last year. He just didn't connect on a lot of them. He had 53 targets last year. He just only caught 28 passes. I think he gets targeted more. I think the hit rate's better. I'd say, something like 70 catches for, 650 to 700 yards.
Ooh, that's a good season. If he has 700 yards next year, Troy Franklin, that is a breakout season.
I'm buying it. I think Mims is gonna. I like Mims a lot. I think he's the best gadget receiver, the best designer.
He's your best deep threat too. I do. I still, even if Troy Franklin breaks out, I think Marvin Mims still needs to be on the field as a deep threat.
Yeah, he can still do that too. I don't know if he'll be the best though. I think Troy Franklin might be better at winning at the catch point than him all of a sudden.
Ooh,
I did not think I'd be saying.
Disagree. Marvin Mims is good at winning at the catch point.
He's not. Man, I'm hyped about what I've been seeing from Troy Franklin. I'm maybe too high. He's got the size advantage. If it translates, and again, who knows? But
we'll come back to this during bold predictions because I got Marvin Mims' take for you, Zach. So we'll come back. We'll come back to bold predictions, and if you're keeping it a buck, you're gonna fade it. If you're not lying to me right now, you're going to take me up on this. That's
I almost went Troy Franklin with my bold prediction, so I feel good that I'll fade Marvin Mims here.
Okay, there we go. All right, offensive player of the year for me, Zach. This one's obvious. I think it's Sutton. Sutton's in for another really big season. You saw it in the preseason. That is who Bo Nix feels the most comfortable with. When in doubt, we're going to find a way to get Sutton the ball on the outside, on the perimeter. We're going to find a way to get him on a back shoulder ball when it's in one-on-one. We're going to get him going down the field, and if you're covered, I don't care because you're Courtland Sutton, and you might just go over the top and get the ball. He's going to get the most targets, everything like that. I think Courtland Sutton's offensive player of the year by the end of this. I think he think he even ups his last year totals. I do. And he had a really good season last year. But I think Courtland Sutton ups his totals this next season. The additional wide receivers around that I'm projecting to take a leap up only help his numbers, in my opinion. It's not one of the ones where the Broncos just added a number one wide receiver and now Sutton's moving the number two. No, now it's just more so that the Broncos have other options they can throw the ball to. It just helps him in how he gets open and stuff like that. So I think Courtland Sutton's offensive player of the year. You're muted, Zach.
Dang, man. I love that pick. I am gonna fully agree. I'm gonna be boring. I think Bo Nix deserves mention here. Obviously, he's the quarterback. I think if you don't pick him for MVP, and spoiler alert, I didn't. I think you could go for him here. I think he's still gonna be growing and developing, though. I think he's not a made man yet. I understand the inclination to crown him already, but I don't think he's there yet. And Sutton, I think is the best. I think he's the best receiver in this offense, the best weapon in this offense. Even when you include the running backs and everything, and he's coming off the best, 3-year stretch of his career. We're 3 years in now to him, kind of experiencing a nice, renaissance.
Yeah.
What we've seen from him, almost 4 years really. With 2021 with Teddy, he was. No, that actually was a rough year. I take that back. But these last 3 have been pretty good. And this is the first time in his entire NFL career he's working with the same quarterback in the same offense.
That's crazy.
In consecutive years, which is nuts. And I think it bodes well for him having, a nice step up this season.
That's crazy. All right. Well, we both agree on Cortland Sutton. Defensive player of the year. Zach, I think we shut the door. I mean, if you're going to have Surtain as MVP, which is the one after this, I think we kind of shut the door on that. I don't want to be boring and just put Surtain as both defensive player of the year and MVP. So for this one, actually, you go first. I took the last 2. You go first on this one. I know mine. I'm not afraid to just say the same thing you are.
I know, and that's why I'm going to go in a different direction. I think you probably have the right answer. I'm going to go with the dark horse here. I think Nick Bonito. I think last year wasn't just a flash in the pan. I think each of these last 2 years, if you look at pass rush win rate or pass rush productivity score, like the catch-all, how much disruption are you causing as a pass rusher on a per snap basis metric? Either of those categories, he's top 8 in the NFL over each of the last 2 seasons. We're talking about a much smaller sample size 2 years ago, but he has been that guy in terms of down to down pass rushing production and disruption each of the past 2 years. And I think it's far more likely it carries over into this season and probably even continues to blossom. We've seen him take meaningful strides in his development every single season. This is also a contract year for him. And I think, I don't know him great, but he seems like the type of guy who is especially motivated by that. I think he's going to be looking at, hey, if I play my cards right here, I could be looking at a $40 million plus payday. That's going to get you out of bed. And like, he's going to get paid no matter what, but we're probably talking about a $20-ish million range on his annual salary. And that's going to largely be determined on how he plays this year. I think the defense is going to be dominant. I think it sets up well for him to have a lot of great plays. I think he's a great finisher. Yes, the defense absolutely inflates his sack production, but I think he's also great at taking advantage of what the defense sets up for him. And I think we're going to be looking at another 15 plus sack season. And, even if the guy you're about to mention is technically a little more valuable and is the film nerds guy, I think Nick Bonito is going to put up enough production that it's too hard to ignore.
Well, you were right. We are going with the film rooms guy, Jaquan McMillan. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going with
Alex Singleton.
He wraps up, man. Really good tackler.
Plays the game the right way.
The right way, man. The right way. Take your lunch pail to work type guy. I'm going with Zach Allen. That's who I'm going with. Nick Bonito is a good one. I think you could go either way with this one. I don't have a strong opinion on it, but I think Zach Allen from the way Zach Allen wins, it's just more impressive to me. I think there's less holes in Zach Allen's game than there are Nick Bonito's game. I think Zach Allen affects the run as kind of a gap shooter. And then I also like he's Mr. F the play up. That's what he does. Even if he's not getting the tackle himself, he's effing the play up. The running back is cutting back the opposite direction because Zach Allen just shot a gap and he is in your backfield in half a second. So he affects the run the same way he affects the pass, where he gets after these guys, man. There's just more, I think, like substance to his game than what I've seen Nick Benito's in the past. And I'm not dissing Nick Benito saying that. The way I've seen Zach Allen win, I've seen a lot of really good defenders win that type of way. Nick Benito also does win in ways that you see good edge rushers win. But yes, he is kind of like a run guy. He's iffy. He does make big plays there, and then he also gives up big plays there, I would say, in the run game. Trying to use his athleticism in ways where I wouldn't say you're necessarily coached to do it. Mm-hmm. Von Miller got away with that his entire career, but it's Von Miller, right? It's a little different. He got away with it because he did it, and he succeeded almost 99% of the time doing it. I wouldn't say Nick Benito's that.
I agree. One thing I will say on the run defense point, because it's something we were talking about earlier this weekend, watching the Ohio State-Texas game. I think, talking about the Micah Parsons trade and everything, yes, Benito is a limited run defender, but you look at Parsons, you look at Trey Hendrickson. I think a lot of the top edge defenders in the league who are making top of the market money are mediocre edge defenders. Even if mediocre might even be complimentary in a good number of those cases. And so I see that used as a knock a lot with Nick Benito, like, oh, well, you're not going to pay him $35 million. He's a limited run defender. And it's like the Packers just traded 2 first-round picks and gave Micah Parsons $47 million, and not that, and Benito's not that level of pass rusher, but the point being, it comes down to if you are an impactful enough pass rusher, it can be justified. And Benito's not there yet, to your point, but the knock there isn't the run defense. It's that you're just not an A++ level pass rusher.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. But if you're going to be Nick Benito is a really good pass rusher, cream of the crop, really good. He's just not Myles Garrett. He's not Micah Parsons, not Trey Hendrickson level, right? He's that very next level next as a pass rusher to me. But when you're that level pass rusher, I do want you to then also be able to set an edge. And I don't know, it is a big projection to be Nick Benito had the season he had last year. Do we expect another jump in his play? Is that kind of what we're expecting? That's my only thing is where Zach Allen, I think he's is it crazy for me to say he's a top 4, top 5 interior defensive lineman in the league?
No, not at all. Dexter Lawrence, Chris Jones, Jalen Carter, and then I think Zach Allen right there. Those 3 I'd put ahead of him, but I could. Am I forgetting someone? Because I could easily put him 4th, I think.
No, well, I don't know. I'd have to look at the list. We probably are forgetting some guys, but they would all be in that same tier, I think, as Zach Allen. That's just my opinion there. I think Zach Allen just has less holes in his game. I'm less worried about is it going to be able to remake the season because the way he wins just has a little more substance to it, like I said earlier.
Cam Hayward, Quinnen Williams, but I'd take Zach Allen out over those guys right now, I think.
Yeah, Yep. I think the next tier, it's a tier, right? You can name players, but Zach Allen as a pass rusher, he's even higher on that list.
PFF ranked him 20th.
Yeah, well, PFF's
it's pretty funny. They ranked him behind Calais Campbell in the year of our Lord 2025. Get out of here. Get out of here. Okay, let's keep going. I was ridiculous.
Okay, Zach, MVP. I don't even think we have to spend this much time on it. For me, it's Patrick Surtain. Best corner in football, won the best defensive player in football last year. He's the best player on the team. He shuts down an entire side of the field. I guess I just add this. I'm so used to Broncos kind of being discredited by media in some ways where it just feels like, the Jets and the Giants and the Cowboys are going to get so much press and so much hype. But I don't think, like, even Von Miller, I go back and think of, before he won the Super Bowl MVP, it felt like he was discredited a little bit. And he's the best pass rusher I saw in my lifetime. But going up to that Super Bowl 50, it was like, man, yeah, Von Miller, he's up there. Like, he has a debate for the number one. And I was sitting there like, no. Von Miller's crazy good, guys. Please just give it to him. I've never seen a Broncos player get so much respect from other NFL players in my life than Patrick Surtain. I'm talking about corners that still watch the game. Like, I remember Darius Slay when Patrick Surtain was a rookie. He's kept on this talking about, like, yeah, I don't care what era of football you're looking at. This might be like one of the most technically sound, if not the most technically sound corner I've ever seen. Richard Sherman does it. Like, corners around the league look at Surtain and they're like, wow, he's amazing. Or that video came out of the wide receivers. There's Jamar Chase, Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy. There were more guys there. And Chad Ochocinco was there. And they're all trying to come up with strategies on how to beat Patrick Surtain. It's just crazy. Like, that's a level of respect that you don't see from Broncos players very often in my time. So that's been super fun. I think he's obviously the MVP of this team.
Yeah, I fully agree. I want to echo the sentiments. Like, I think, and it's early, he has to keep it up. But if he keeps doing what he has done through his first, 4 years in the league now, I mean, he will be better at what he did than Von will have been at what he did. He might not. So? I think so, because Von Miller, I think for much of his career, even much of his peak, was not the best edge rusher in the league. I think J.J. Watt was ahead of him for much of it.
J.J. Watt playing the interior for like a ton of those.
For some of it, he was kicking inside, but he was like an edge / interior player, and he was getting
interior though too. Like,
you could look at the snap breakdown, but I mean, he was listed as a defensive end on their team, and they're playing a 4-3. Which, like, I hear what you're saying, but I think you go J.J. Watt, and then you have Khalil Mack getting all first team All Pro at 2 different positions that 1 year. And like, at least to the point where it was debatable, I think every single year, like, Von Miller doesn't have a defensive player of the year. And we can argue whether or not he should have, but he doesn't, and played a position where it's far easier to win that award than it is to win it at corner. And now, last year was kind of a weird, funky year. It was, more wide open, which helped Surtain win it, certainly. But I think, if Surtain keeps this up and he has, 3, 4, 5 years of being the unquestioned best cornerback in the league, I don't think Von ever accomplished that as good as he did. Now, Von also carried a team to a Super Bowl victory. I don't think you can really do that from the cornerback position, but I think that's just a compliment to how excellent Surtain is at his craft that we're even able to have that debate. And then, I think he's MVP, not only because he's the best player on his team, but kind of what you alluded to. He shuts down half the field. He is the keystone that allows the Broncos to play the way that they play. And the defense feeds the offense. The defense only plays the way they're able to play because of Surtain. He is the foundational element, like at the heart of this team's identity, on top of being far and away their best player. That's why he's the MVP.
Your Von take there is propaganda. We appreciate it, but it is propaganda and false.
Everything I said was objectively true.
No, it's not. No. The Von thing, the take, I mean, I could get into it if you want, but we have a show that we need to continue here. It'd be a fun topic for another day, but wrong. And you have me arguing against my own MVP here. It's crazy. I don't know how you do that. Anyways, bold predictions. We went over who won last year. Let's get into our bold predictions this year. Zach, I want you to start it off. So how this episode or how this game works, everybody. Zach's going to say, hey, RJ Harvey's going to have 2,000 rushing yards this year. And I'm going to say, Zach, you are incorrect. That's what I usually do here on the show. I say, Zach, you are incorrect. And I'm pretty much what I'm doing is taking him up on that bet. So at the end of the year, when it's all said and done, we're going to come back to these like we did today, and we're going to see who is right or wrong. We're going to do this every single week, the week one. So we're going to have another episode for week one where we will be making specific bets for that game. Now, this one is a season-long prediction, bold prediction. We're doing 2 apiece. Zach, get us going. You're muted again, brother.
I know. Damn it. Yes. Joey explained it perfectly there. And the other element, right? If I go just egregious with my prediction, say something outlandish that could never possibly happen, Joey and Bree fade me, I'm giving them points. If I go something not bold at all or a little too easy,
it's usually what happens.
They don't take me up, except I always get you guys to take me up, so that's not true at all. But then they don't take me up, and then I have no potential to gain points. So you got to walk that line between something you truly believe, but your co-hosts, in my case, Joey and Bree, won't believe. I'll get us started here. Or do you want to start with Breeze?
Start with Breeze. Why not?
All right, Bree. Again, wish she could be here with us today, but her prediction, and I think it's a good one. At first, I was like, "Oh, that's too easy," but I did some looking into it, and I think she picked like the exact right line. She's saying the Denver Broncos will score 4 defensive touchdowns this season. Do you want a little stat tidbit on this, Joey?
I would. How much did they score this last year? Well, I don't know.
They led the NFL last year in defensive touchdowns with 5. You had 2 teams, the 2 additional teams along with the Broncos score at least 4. So lofty for them to score 4 this year. But I also like with this defense, I kind of like 4 touchdowns with Surtain and the secondary players they have and the defensive line, and you can always get like a fumble recovery for a touchdown. I just over a 17-game season, I could see it.
Okay, well, what are you doing then? Are you taking this bet?
I'm gonna fade it. I think the numbers, again, 3 teams last year accomplished this. Like the odds would say, if this was in the sports book, I think it would be like plus 200 odds or something. So I've got to take her up on that. I feel like it's cowardice to not take her up on that. I think my heart says yes, they will score that many touchdowns. My head and logic and the odds of everything says no, they won't score that many touchdowns. I'm disagreeing with Bree. I'm taking her up on the bet.
Listen, if the Broncos were playing Jameis Winston again this year, Lord save me
or Anthony Richardson.
Yes, then I would be all on board with this, but that's not the case. They aren't playing these guys. I mean, they scored 5, and they played the 2 guys that throw more pick sixes than anybody. Jameis Winston's guy throw the most pick sixes in NFL history. It has started maybe like 6 years. Like, it's not good.
Lord, deliver me from pick sixes.
Pick sixes. That's the greatest video ever.
Oh my God! And then Surtain's came on Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
The pick 6. I don't know. Jaquan had a pick 6. I'm trying to remember who that came on right now. If anyone else does. And
well,
then
we're definitely going to play some bad quarterbacks this year. Like there's a chance, that the Gardner Minshew one's accurate. The Jameis Winston one in particular, this guy's throwing a pick 6 a game. So we got to like the Broncos easily could have had 6 in
that game alone
last year. Yeah, they got 1 more in that game. So I am taking Bree up on this bet. I don't think that they're going to get that many defensive touchdowns. I hope they do. That'd be very cool. But no, I'm not. I don't agree with Bree.
All right, we're riding on that one.
All right, so give me yours. Give me your bold prediction.
My bold prediction. Sorry, I'm trying to note this so I don't forget it. Okay, my bold prediction. Okay, I'm going to go with my my RJ Harvey one here. Here's part of my logic here. 2 years ago, when Joey won the whole thing, my season-long prediction was that Patrick Surtain would receive at least 1 first-place vote for Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh,
and
right.
I was a year early, and I struck out. And so I'm thinking last year I made my bet that the running backs would be so productive. I totally struck out. I don't want to bet on multiple running backs like I did last year, but I'm going to go back to the well. I'm learning from my Surtain mistake. This is the year the run game pops. I'd say RJ Harvey. So looking into this, I was like, what's a good line to draw the number at? The Denver Broncos have not had a single player, not a wide receiver, not a running back, not a tight end, go over 1,100 yards from scrimmage since 2021. The Teddy Bridgewater days. Joey, we were terrified of COVID still back in 2021. The world was still shut down, wearing masks and all that. That's how far back you got to go to find someone gaining 1,100 yards from scrimmage for the Denver Broncos. I mean, this team hasn't had an 100-yard rusher since Latavius Murray.
This is not
right. Yeah. RJ Harvey, I'm betting this year 1,100 yards from scrimmage. I'm not saying some running back for the Broncos. I'm calling my shot. It's RJ Harvey, 1,100 plus yards.
Can you give me some more details on this if I ask you some questions real quick, Zach? I'm curious how you see this broken down. Like, how many rushing yards versus receiving yards do you see happening here for him to get to 1,100?
Let me see. I think I would say 700 rushing yards or so, 750 rushing yards, and then 350 to 450 receiving yards. The receiving yards I actually might be low on. Javonte Williams had 350 last year.
I think that's a lot. I think Javonte, though, was like Mr. Checkdown Merchant. I don't think that's going to be the same type of game.
So I disagree. I think part of the reason they like RJ Harvey so much is because he can take those checkdowns and actually turn them into something, unlike Javonte. I think the problem is that Javonte could be trusted to pass protect on passing downs, and right now it looks like they don't trust RJ Harvey to do that.
Now, do you think RJ Harvey, that's it? Do you think RJ Harvey's going to even have the opportunities to be Mr. Checkdown on third down?
Yes, because I don't think Javonte Williams had 70 targets last year. I don't think, to get those 350 yards, I don't think RJ Harvey is going to need those 70 targets to get there. Bo Nix also likes generally checking it down to the running back. I don't think RJ Harvey has to be there on third downs to get a fair amount of targets. And then I think he's going to wind up running the ball the most in this backfield. J.K. Dobbins probably does start out the year as the 1A back. And last year, he started out the year really good. His first game against the Broncos, he was good. And I think that's the vision of J.K. Dobbins that everyone has in their heads. And I like J.K. I wanted him off the veteran market of all the options out there.
Which is real.
But he crashed pretty hard down the stretch of last season. And it's because he's taken a lot of injuries over the year. I don't think he's going to hold up for 17 games. And I think down the stretch of this season, RJ Harvey takes. So I don't know why I'm trying to convince you to not take me up on my bet, Joey. Take me up on my bet. It's a dumb bet. No way RJ Harvey does it. You should gamble against me.
Fun fact, real quick question. What's JK stand for in J.K. Dobbins' name? What's his name?
It's DK. It stands for Donkey Kong.
It's incorrect.
Shout out to 9 News.
Ja'Kalen Dobbins is his name. Anyways, Ja'Kalen.
Oh, shout out to Ja'Kalen Taylor.
There we are. I'm taking you on this one. I think you're overestimating a little bit RJ Harvey and his ability to play on these third downs in particular. I think the Broncos could like him for that reason. Now, does it happen in his rookie season where I think everything in the preseason has shown us that they don't trust him in that spot? Is where it's going to come to bite you. I think that's the issue. I think it's the receiving yards are going to come shorter than you think they are. So I'll take you on this bet.
All right. I'm glad, Joey.
All right. Are you ready for mine?
Yeah, I'm so happy to hit on this. I've learned from my Patrick Surtain lesson. I clean up this year. Finally going to hit on my season long.
Speaking of cleaning up, the Broncos, this is the year, everybody. Listen to me right now. This is the year. Now, I'm not doing all these little, what's the line, right? Like Zach and Bree like doing where it's, I'm going to go 1 yard over where Vegas has them. whatever they do, right? I'm going to go above and beyond with my bold predictions. And this is, I do it and I win a lot doing it. How do I do it? We don't know.
This is ridiculous. This is not true.
The Broncos beat the Chiefs twice. They sweep the Chiefs this year. Bold prediction.
Okay.
That's bold.
It?
That's bold. Broncos beat the Chiefs twice.
They were an extra point. They were a blocked field goal, chip shot field goal away from doing that last year.
That's bold. The Broncos beat the Chiefs twice. No one would say yes. No one would say yes except okay, then say yes.
In our chat right now. Except for everyone in our chat right now. Everyone in the chat is going to be going, Joey, I fully agree with you. Broncos beat the Chiefs twice.
No, they're not.
It's not that bold.
Joey, you're crazy. That's what they're going to do. Now, you tell me, do you agree with me, mister? This isn't bold enough? Because I know you don't. That's how I know it's bold. You don't agree with me?
You're playing the game right. You're playing the game right where, yeah, if you were to look at the odds for this, like if you were to parlay those Broncos Chiefs games as Broncos wins, you'd look great. One thing I will say that makes this bolder and a little more respectable, the Broncos don't play the Chiefs in week 18 this year. They play them in week 17.
Yeah.
So you won't get the freebie game.
The Broncos
I think they beat the Chiefs.
Arrowhead since like what was it? Like Peyton Manning?
Yeah, but they damn near just did it.
I'm telling you that they're going to do it. That's bold on its own. And then I also said they're going to beat them the other time. Bold. So you don't know about that, Zach. You don't know
I'll
about
save you on this, but this is the least bold of all of them.
Then why are you taking it? It was not bold. Why are you taking it?
It's bold enough to be taken.
Then agree with me, Zach.
It's the least
bold. Come over to my side. All right, there you go. Should I follow up with my next one?
Sure.
Okay, cool. Here we are. Marvin Mims, Zach Seegers. Mm-hmm. He will have 750 receiving yards this year. Last year, he had around 500. So he's doing a 250-yard leap from last year to this year. What do you think about that?
750 yards for Marvin Mims?
Receiving. I'm saying receiving.
Specifically receiving yards.
And if you think Troy Franklin's going to have 700 yards, you don't think that Marvin Mims is going to have 700 yards.
Yeah, I think the other option, I think Marvin Mims will take a step forward this year, but I think the other pass catchers are better. You know, you'll have Evan Ingram eating into the targets in a way that, the tight ends weren't last year. I think you picked a good line for it again for someone who was just talking shit about they don't go above and beyond with their yardage lines. I think 750 is probably like right around what fantasy services would project right now, but I'll fade you on it.
Really? You think fantasy services have him going up like a whole third in yards from last year to this year?
Let me see. I'll see if I can find a fantasy thing backing up my trash talk really quick.
I don't think they would. I think Pat Bryant, a lot of fantasy people are, that's a sleeper. Troy Franklin's a sleeper. Fantasy football thinks every player is a sleeper.
Oh, man. Fantasy pros projecting 700 receiving yards. You're lucky you said specifically receiving yards because they're projecting exactly 750 yards from scrimmage on the season.
If we're doing yards from scrimmage, I'm going higher on that than the scrimmage yards.
Okay, let's do yards from scrimmage. What are you going to say, 1,000?
No. Listen, we're gonna stick with the receiving yards. We're gonna stick with the receiving yards. It's 750 receiving yards. You're taking me up on it. For a guy that's saying I'm not bold, he's taking me up on all these bets. Yes, Joey. Oh, that's a stupid one. I'll take you up on that while also saying I'm not bold. It's very silly what's going on here.
The same thing you always do. This is so ridiculous. Every time we play this game.
So give me your not so bold prediction, Zach.
All right. My second bold prediction, Joey, is I was talking about Evan Ingram a second ago. Evan Ingram is going to be the team's highest scoring pass catcher in PPR fantasy leagues.
So you're just saying he's going to catch a lot of touchdowns. That's pretty much what you're saying.
Yeah, and catch a lot of passes and a lot of yards. His overall score, I'm saying his catch-all production And I think the easiest way to do that is just fantasy points because it'll get me yards, touchdowns, and total receptions. I think all of that is going to dethrone Cortland Sutton as the most productive receiver in the Broncos offense. I think Evan Ingram is going to be the most productive pass catcher in the Broncos offense.
I think I found a contradiction in your logics here because if you believe the RJ Harvey stuff you were talking about, it feels like RJ Harvey would be the number one.
I'm hedging, Joey. I'm hedging.
Touchdowns.
No. Well, because he'd be rushing. I'm talking about pass catching points. The most productive.
So it's only pass catching. You're not saying the most fantasy points out of the skill.
Not of anyone. The most productive pass catcher.
Oh, I don't know if I disagree with you on this, Zach. I don't think this is that bold.
More than okay, dang it. Do you think I do have to say more than Harvey?
I think you do. I don't know if it's because it's between Sutton or Ingram. Those are the only two options to win this.
You're probably right. Okay, you know what? Let me change it up right here on the fly. I'm gonna say
you gotta say skilled position player with the most fantasy points.
Yeah, I'm mixing it up on the fly. Don't you worry. Nick Benito, he's gonna get even more sacks this year than he had last year. I'm staying true to the talk I just had. Ups. It doesn't go back down. I don't know how much it climbs. More sacks in 2025 than he had in 2024. I'm pretty sure he had 14 and a half in 2024.
Can you look this up for me real quick?
Yeah.
Let's see. Actually, I'm pulling it up too. Nick Benito.
He had 13 and a half. I'm fine with that. I'll say he has at least one whole sack more because I would set the line.
But he needs to at least have 14 and a half sacks to clarify because you're going to come back to this footage, Zach. I'm going to write this down too so you can't lie about it.
I'm going to split the difference. 14 plus. 14
No.
You'll take 14 plus sacks.
You just said 14 and a half. How many different retries do you get?
14 and a half. I'm going to hit it. I'm going to hit it anyways. It doesn't matter.
Okay, I'll take you up on 14 and a half. I think that he'll have less than 14 and a half sacks. I think putting my eggs in the basket to say anybody's going to be like a top 3 sack leader is tough, especially when I know how sacks come, right? Like a guy could be the best pass rusher in the league and only have 9 sacks. That's something that happens in the NFL. So I will take you up on this one, Zach. I think you're dead wrong per usual.
We'll see. I think you just scammed me how you normally do, but we'll see how that works. Joey always gets me to make bolder predictions. He always talks me off a ledge, like onto a ledge, but then off it. He doesn't talk me. He talks me into jumping to my demise. That's how he talks me off the ledge. So it's great. Every year I
won some of these years, man. His first ones. He really. Anyways, does Bree have a second?
Bree didn't give us a second. I will get it from her and we'll put it on the spreadsheet. We'll talk about it in our Titans preview. We'll get back to it there.
Okay. I love this game. It's always so much fun.
It's a fun ride. All right.
Okay. Last thing here. Broncos season predictions. So this is a record prediction. Zach, what do you have the Broncos at?
I have the Denver Broncos. Actually, I'll give Breeze first really quick. Please. Did she give us a playoff element? No, we'll circle back on that with the Titans thing too. She has them winning 11 games. I assume that's enough to make the playoffs. I don't know. She didn't say how far she had them advancing. I assume not the Super Bowl. I think that probably would have been the headline. But I'll speak for Bree and say 11 wins and getting eliminated at some point in the AFC playoff bracket.
Okay.
Which I think is pretty reasonable. I am feeling even a little more bold than Bree. I felt really confident about this before the first preseason game, and it's so dumb because it's preseason, but it's given me enough of pause where I'm like, am I sure about doing this? But you know what? I wanna live bold, Joey. I'm saying the Broncos win 12 games this year. I think it's 12-5. I don't know if it'll be enough to win the division, but I think the AFC West this year is going to be like the NFC North last year, where you have a ton of teams winning a ton of games. I Chiefs, I think, probably still win the division, but I think the Broncos are going to take them down to the wire. They go 12-5. They win one playoff game. They win their first playoff game on Wild Card weekend, and then they are eliminated in the divisional round by one of these AFC juggernauts, Bills, Ravens, Chiefs, one of the like. And I think that should be the goal for the Broncos this year. I think they can go to toe-to-toe with the Texans, the Chargers, and that second tier, and the Bengals, that second tier of AFC playoff teams, advance past them, get to that group of the Final Four, and if they fall short of upsetting a Buffalo or a Baltimore or a Kansas City in the playoffs again, I don't think you can really hold that against them too much.
There you go. So here's mine. I am lower on my season record, but I'm not lower on the Broncos. I think this is just it's a tough schedule. I think there are multiple teams that the Broncos could win or lose to, and I also do think that it could end up being similar to last year, where by the end, we're looking at the better version of the Broncos. I think that's a possibility as well. If Bo Nix continues on the trajectory he does, that's always something that I fight back against, that the quarterback trajectory arc is just like this. No, it's more, it's a lot more hiccups in the road. But so I'm going 10. I'm going 10 wins for the Broncos. This is where I have this team. Now, I think the Broncos make the playoffs. I still do think it's a fight to get who wins the AFC West. I think that the AFC West is going to be better than the records indicate. I think that. And who wins is tough for me to say. I think you got to put money on the Chiefs just because it's kind of one of those things where it's prove me wrong. But I think the Broncos are right in that range by the end of the season to have been taken that jump to win the AFC West. They're right there. And by playoff times, I think they've gone through such a gauntlet that they do get past the first round at minimum in the playoffs.
Yeah, I like it.
That's where I have them.
Yeah, I think we'll have to see how far Bree has them advancing in the playoffs, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're all in agreement there.
Yeah,
I think this will be a good team this year. And to echo what you said about Bo Nix, it is typically with quarterbacks up and down. I think, again, there's a desire to crown him already, and I don't think he's there yet. Part of my whole argument with the Drew Lock thing was, if a guy doesn't belong, you can typically tell pretty quickly. Like 18, 19 games into their career, if it hasn't clicked yet, they don't belong. It's not going to. And there's exceptions to that rule, but almost never. It just isn't going to click on for him. If you do show glimpses, flashes in those first 20 games, you have a chance. But that doesn't mean you're a made man. And Bo Nix is in the, I have a chance tier right now. And a year from now, I think we could be talking about him as, in like the CJ Stroud, Jordan Love, like these are the best young up and coming quarterbacks in the game right now. He could be in that conversation, or he could be in, the type of conversations we were having with like Mitch Trubisky in 2018, 2019, or like Justin Fields in 2022, 2023. I think it'll be the former, but he has not solidified himself yet. And I'm excited to see how he continues to blossom into this season.
Absolutely. It's gonna be fun to keep track for sure. With Bo Nix, I think there's even like this team is built so well that there's opportunity for the Broncos to win while he's struggling, which is interesting, and that's going to even be divisive for Broncos fans if something does happen like that. Or I mean, if he comes out like people describe him to be, where it's like, yeah, Bo Nix is going to be a top 10 quarterback or something like this next year, that's when, if you can guarantee me that, that's where I'm more in your range of total wins. Like I'm talking 13, 12, and the Broncos have a Super Bowl shot. Like, right? Like that if it really is on Bo Nix as far as how far they can go or their ceiling. So I don't know. It's interesting, but everybody, I hope you enjoyed today's show. Please, everybody, Zach is doing mailbag episodes. Send Zach your questions in the comment section. He's going to go over them. It's an individual show Zach does here, and he's just going to answer everybody's questions. He's going to go through them one by one, as long as they're not really stupid. and answer them for you. He might even answer the stupid ones because Zach likes yelling at people sometimes.
I love it. I will dunk on you.
Yeah.
I will. Give me good questions. I love talking ball with all you. Going to get that cranked up now. It's been a crazy month, but we're ready to roll.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, and then make sure you guys are Full Field Reads back in action with us. They're going to be breaking down the Bo Nix film, every single snap that he plays. Make sure you guys are keeping up with Altitude Adjustments, Coach Pat and Mario Vintanzi. That's a great show. And then, of course, us, Let's Talk Broncos. Make sure you guys are subscribed for all of the news, all of the Broncos content you could ever ask for. And until next time,